Hello and welcome, our beloved viewers, to RTD's News English Edition. Tonight, for the highlights, we got the Ministry of Defense meets with the Chinese ambassador. And on the international scene, mandatory health pass. Those were the major headlines for tonight. Welcome back, our beloved viewers. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, had a telephone conversation with the Sudanese Prime Minister Mr. Abdullah Hamdok early this Tuesday evening. During this exchange, the two leaders discussed together the bilateral relations as well as the ways and means to promote and develop them further. The meeting served above all as an opportunity to discuss the main issues on the agenda of the regional organization, IGAD. In this particular aspect of the discussions focused mainly on the mechanisms to be further endorsed with a view to greater subscription and compliance of the countries of the sub-region with the key objectives of achieving lasting stability, systematic recourse to dialogue in the resolution of political disputes, and the move towards efficient economic integration in this part of the world. The strategic nature of these talks, which are an undeniable guarantee of an exchange of expertise, should be emphasized for the Sudanese Prime Minister in the current context in which he holds the rotating presidency of IGAD. The two leaders also took advantage of their exchange to address together several other issues of continental and international scope. It should be recalled that the head of state had a similar meeting yesterday by telephone with the Ethiopian Prime Minister. These consultations and exchanges are part of the regular contacts between the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, and his fellow heads of state and government of brotherly and friendly countries. This morning, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, Mr. Hassan Umar Mohammad Burhan, received in his office the Ambassador Extraordinary of the People's Republic of China, Mr. Hu Bin. The Minister of Defense welcomed the diplomat to Djibouti and gave him his full support during his mission. The Minister then, Mr. Hassan Umar, recalled that the historical and cultural link that exists between the two countries, which have experienced a considerable and remarkable evolution, illustrated by both the volume and diversity of exchange in several areas. In this sense, the Chinese ambassador wished to work in close collaboration with the Djiboutian government to further consolidate the strategic Sino-Djiboutian relations. To the Ministry of Trade and Tourism, with the Minister, Mr. Mohammad Warsame Diriye, received to Japan to Djibouti, Mr. Imu Tsaka. In his office, this meeting allowed both parties to review the historical relations between the two countries and ways to promote bilateral cooperation and the creation of opportunities for an effective partnership in the field of tourism and crafts. In addition, this meeting also focused on ways and means to enhance the craft and tourism. In this regard, the minister stressed the creation of craft sites for SMEs. The interview was an opportunity for both parties to review the areas of cooperation between the two countries' friends and ways to strengthen them, particularly in the field of trade, industry, and tourism. The audience took place in the presence of the Secretary General and close advisors of the ministries. This morning, the Minister of Decentralization, Mr. Qasim Harun Ali, received in his honor room the Ambassador of the Republic of Yemen in Djibouti, Mr. Abdullah Musalim Qasim al-Skotri. This meeting took place in the presence and close collaborators of the minister. The ambassador began by thanking the minister for his frontal welcome and congratulated him on his appointment as head of the Ministry of Decentralization by wishing him good luck. The minister on his side, after thanking the ambassador for the wish, recalled the historical and cultural link that exists between the two countries. Moreover, Mr. Qasim Harun did not fail to mention the situation prevailing in Yemen, namely the conflict and instability, while reassuring the ambassador of the unfailing support of Djibouti to the brotherly Yemen people. It is in the spirit of solidarity that Makarazi camp in Obok continues to generously host refugees fleeing the war in Yemen, said the minister. The two-person letters discussed at the length the special relationship between the two countries, particularly with the north of the country, where Yemeni refugees have not had difficulties integrating. Finally, the Minister of Decentralization, Mr. Qasim Harun, expressed to the ambassador his strong wish to see the return of peace and stability in Yemen. In our country, we can observe a presence of heat and general humidity on the whole country, except for the regions located in altitude, a situation that starts with the beginning of summer in June and that will probably last until September. The Djiboutian population starts to feel the heat early in the morning until early evening. Citizens have difficulty circulating because of the heat filled with humidity, especially in the main squares such as Mahmoud Harbi Square and the main roads. The climatic disturbance of the summer comes from the heavy rains of the season of Karma in our region, but also in altitude in our country. According to an official of the Weather Service, Engineer Ali Haidar, the situation of heat is likely to last until the arrival of the seasonal rains. Already for tomorrow, according to the forecast, we can announce a probability of weak showers on the major part of the territory in the evening. As part of the capacity building and improvement of access to drinking water for people living in rural areas on Monday, August 30, 2021, the Directorate of Rural Water, with the financial support of UNICEF, proceeded to the distribution of hygiene kits in the localities of Balho and Dora in the region of Tejora, in collaboration with the National Society of the Red Crescent of Djibouti. The kits distributed are composed of water buckets, soap, blankets, diapers, and colorine to all households in the localities of North Gubet, Dora, Balho, and Boya. A total of 370 families benefited from this distribution program. The distribution was coupled with the granting of water treatment products to make it drinkable and raise awareness on ways and means to protect themselves against the pandemic of COVID-19. The direction of the Rural Hydraulics in cooperation with the partners of development remains more than ever committed at the sides of our population by improving their living conditions and hygiene. The Djiboutian Sharks arrived yesterday in Algiers after a brief stopover in Doha. The players and technical staff were warmly welcomed by the officials of the Algerian Soccer Federation. The Secretary General of the Djiboutian Soccer Federation, Yusuf Ahmed, head of the Djibouti delegation, received a bucket of flowers from his Algerian counterpart. Recall that this is a part of the qualification for the World Cup of 2022 in Doha. The Djiboutian Sharks are in Algeria, where they must play on September 2nd against the Phoenix and September 6th against Niger. The meeting between Algeria and Djibouti, counting for the first day of the Group A of the qualifiers of the World Cup 2022, will take place on September 2nd at 7 p.m. at the stadium of Shahid Mustafa of Bilda in Algeria. In the international scene, moving on to the United States, the U.S. military announced on Monday that it had completed its withdrawal from Afghanistan. After the longest war at U.S. history, the Taliban held its historic moment, while the United States said it will work with the Islamists if they keep their commitments. By this, our beloved viewers, we conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us and make sure to stick around for more. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.